This is one of the most expensive logos I've ever created. In order to achieve this, I had to go through 4 essential stages during the design process. And if you're a designer who wants to produce professional logos and increase the price of their work, then you have to be doing these too. In order to uncover what these stages are and identify why they're so important, we need to go back in time and look at exactly what I did when creating this logo. After having a strategy call with the client, I sat at my desk ready to do research with the aim of discovering the creative direction for this brand. During this process, I looked at competitors, design inspiration, and did research on the business's target audience. I then refined all of my ideas into 2 mood board concepts to present to the client. By conducting this research and analysis on the industry the business was in, I identified ways I could create a brand that stands out. And this was the first piece of the puzzle to making high-value logos. But if the next piece of the puzzle is done wrong, it renders this strategy work pointless. So after getting confirmation from the client on which direction they wanted to go with, I was on the hunt to find a font to fit this. I headed over to Envato Elements, the sponsor of this video, and after an hour or so of downloading fonts and playing around with them, I landed on 3 potential matches for this brand. They were Anko, Volaterre Frangella, and Restorer. And here is where the second piece of the puzzle was added. The font had to hit a criteria made up of 3 important things to ensure it was a perfect fit for this brand. And these were that it had to match the brand's tone of voice, there was potential to customize, and the font had to have the right characteristics. After considering these 3 things, I landed on the font Restorer. This second piece of the puzzle consisted of finding a font that was the right fit. Now this may sound simple, but far too many designers just use their existing library of fonts and never actually take the time to research and source fonts that match the desired direction. But if the third piece of this logo design process puzzle is done incorrectly, then the time taken to choose the right font is wasted, because each stage builds on the previous, just like a puzzle. And this next piece is really where you earn your money as a designer. This stage is the difference between selling $50 logos and $5,000 logos. So after deciding on a font, I got to work on the design of the logo type. And when designing, there are 3 things I always do. First, I list out a bunch of words related to the business's product or service, which helps create strategic design decisions. In this case, it was words like waggy tails, paw prints, etc., as it's a business that sells pet accessories. Next, I identify individual letters that would work well when customized. For this, the T has potential. The 2 serifs could be manipulated into dog ears. And finally, the layout of the logo. In this example, it would be in the stacked position. With this in mind, I spent the next couple of days designing the logo, and many concepts later, I landed on the final design. Here's the before and after. Can you see what the third piece of the puzzle I implemented that made this logo much more valuable? It was customizing the type. By doing this, it allowed me to integrate strategic design decisions and make the logo one of a kind. This is what all the top designers who charge thousands for their work do. When you can supply a client with a well thought out, strategic, and unique piece of work, they'll happily pay big money. But there's still one piece of the puzzle missing. This final piece is the cherry on top of the cake that brings everything full circle, and it's intentionally done last so it doesn't affect any other parts of the process. So after finishing the design, I used the mood board I'd created during the first stage of this design process as inspiration to help inform my color palette decisions. During the process of creating a color palette, I was constantly referring back to not only the mood board, but also other brand strategy documents that included the tone of voice, target audience, and more. The final piece of the puzzle is all about finding a color palette that complements the brand and the logo perfectly. When doing this, you have to consider all of the other information from stages 1 to 3, as they all have the ability to impact this decision. All 4 pieces of the puzzle come together to produce a logo that is high quality, strategically designed, and distinct, meaning your work is worth a whole lot more than some run-of-the-mill design. But All of this is essentially pointless if you can't attract clients in the first place. That's why you need to watch this video here where I show you how I get clients using social media.